Okay, folks, this will be an interesting one. A bit boring, but it's got potential. It's going to need to be enlarged heaps. Let's see how we go with this. Okay, let's see what we have here. Piece of foil. I think it's from a Reese's chocolate cup, whatever you call it. So it's a Reese's chocolate and caramel, I do think. I don't eat those, but I found this. So I'm just going to line it up on the edge there. Maybe put a piece of paper behind it. Hopefully that's not moved too much. Yeah, unfortunately that is what happens when you put the brightness control on dark. It often does that for some reason. It just makes the toner bubble. And it just curls as well. It's really thick. I don't like it. So I'm going to change it. Yeah, the brightness does get really bubbly at that stage. So I'll use this one. That hopefully shouldn't bubble. Yeah, it's on the back it's on the fuser roller. That's come up. Looks a bit too blue though, and that still is a little bit of it there. That bubbling. I think it's just the toner is too thick on the image. Gonna make that a little bit maybe. Oh fuck. What can we do with it, folks? What can we fucking do? I think this is on the wrong end of the hue scale. I think I'm gonna make it go there. Maybe take out some of the density or leave it in. I'm getting hot, folks, even though it's a cold day, just a tad. Yeah, that's better. You can see the green is sort of adds a bit of variegation, or whatever you want to call it in the image. It looks a lot more interesting, the colour in that. We're going to use that as our master copy. Okay, that's our original and the piece of paper behind it. So you can turn garbage into something really nice sometimes if you know what you're doing, folks. Just pick it off the street and you find it off the street and you just use it in a demo. That's how I do it. You could call it street art for sure. One thing you could call it. Doesn't cost anything either. It's cheap. You just find it on the ground and you don't have to pay for it. Even though it can often be really dirty and filthy and grungy, it looks really nice. And that's a little bit too large, I do think. Maybe make it a bit smaller. I think 180 is way too big. Yeah, folks, when you're on a low budget like me, it pays to use materials that you can find for free, and it's also good for the environment too, cleaning up what people have trashed on the sidewalk or the footpath. What do you want to call it? What do I call it? A sidewalk? That's the American term. I wasn't brought up with it like that. Maybe I watched a bit too much Sesame Street. Don't get me wrong, America will always be my sister country, because basically I was born on US soil. I was born in a country known as Guam, and yeah, I love American culture. But sometimes the way they say things, like instead of a torch they call it a flashlight, and the spelling is different of things. But it's still a great country, you know. I really love it. But I'll always call Australia home. Because I've never been to the mainland of the US. I'd like to go to New York one day. I really would. That's where the word sidewalk really has meaning in when you're going to New York. I'd love to go to New York with Luigi, my partner. In fact, New York is the top priority of places in the world I'd like to go and see on a holiday or a honeymoon with him. Is to go to New York and to keep going there on a regular holiday. It's just my kind of place. Photocopier art had its origins there, so or had some of it. I don't know if it's the origins or whether it's one of the earliest places, but basically, it was also virtually where I think Xerox was born in New York or New Jersey, Astoria, which I think it's in Queens. I'm not sure, folks. So Astoria, 10, 22nd, 28, 38, 10, 22nd, 38. Astoria was what was written on that slide that Chester F. Carlson used and Otto Kornai used. Oh, I explain myself. I can't explain. This is some of the history of the xerographic or the toner-based process. They called xerography, and hence the name Xerox. But I won't go into detail. I don't feel like my brain is into it at the moment, folks. Sometimes I just can't be bothered. Anyway, that's coming looking something nice. I think we can now call this demo quits.